Sweeties, my darlings, today I am the sultry rose. We are going to discuss conversion therapy for homosexuality, and if your hair is standing on end, don't be so quick to be shocked. Since I personally have a positive experience, I wouldn't even call it treatment of homosexuality. It's psychotherapy aimed at a broader variety. That is, a homosexual person started to desire not only men but also women. And I am happy and proud that I achieved such strong therapeutic results. And I believe it should be done in this way if the person themselves wants it. So boys would come to me and say, Veronica, I don't just want to be gay. I want to truly fall in love with a woman, feel sexual attraction to her, have children, and start a family. I'm 40 years old and I'm afraid of growing old gay. Or this loneliness, I don't want to wear diapers, I don't want to be some ridiculous guy. And it's not even about my boys facing judgment. They didn't face any judgment. Overall, by and large, there is no oppression of gays in Russia. There were many of them and there still are. And these are photographers, you know very well. Yes, it's that industry, design, fashion. Well, there are many of them, and they kind of live their own lives. It's just that this propaganda is gone, you know. Yes, on TV, we don't see it. It's banned. And I agree with that. I'll explain why later. So going back to this therapy, that's why I can't call it conversion therapy. I'm not radically changing anything in any way. I give them a certain freedom of choice, which is forbidden for most gay people, because there's a conflict there. A conflict with that very woman. There are gay men, usually like Sosedov, and in those cases it's basically pointless to work through this free zone of love and interest in women.
People have known everything about me for a long time, and this follows me throughout my life. And even if I never said anything about it, everyone would still understand everything. Orientation, such a wonderful orientation. Really, what's so bad about it?
But there really aren't that many gays like that. For the most part, there are a lot of children who have been raped by their father, stepfather, some men, a coach or a teacher. There are a lot of boys who have simply been dominated by their father. Such a big, serious figure, yes, who just crushed and broke him down. Or it's a single mother, and the child identified with the woman, with these endless female friends. He would put on makeup with them, and so on. That is, social factors still account for a huge proportion. Right, but that's not what we're talking about today. Today I would like to talk specifically about those cruel methods, yes, of correcting homosexuality, which of course was only recently removed from diagnostic manuals, but there's no guarantee they won't put it back in, and that they won't include homosexuality again. There's no guarantee. So it all directly depends on the group of people who are in power. If a slightly different group of people comes to power, then there will be different labels, yes. That's why these are all just conventions. Back then there was a group of people who managed to bring this out and make it the norm. Although everyone understands that this can't be the norm, if only because the penis doesn't aim for the vagina, and yes, it doesn't have the need to inseminate the uterus. But it aims for the anus, which isn't suited for any kind of sexual intercourse. It tears, it falls out, it starts to hurt and become inflamed. Because it's a completely different organ. That penis pushes into fecal matter. So in most cases it should go into the vagina and reach the uterus and inseminate that uterus. But here it has a sort of deviating direction. And that's a smaller percentage, right? So this is traditional and this is already non-traditional. This is the norm and this is already a deviation. So it's deviating. It's like basically if a person starts eating glass marbles. There are patients who eat glass marbles. But it won't kill him, let's put it that way. He can swallow some plastic objects, I don't know, some little blocks, swallow them. It might actually bring him some kind of pleasure. Actually, we discussed that movie Swallow together, remember? Well, he might be working on getting rid of his guilt by swallowing things, by filling his stomach. By the way, if you don't remember, it's an amazing movie. Watch it, I highly recommend it. It's called Swallow. And the girl was swallowing different objects. She would basically poop them out. So it's not exactly deadly. Yes, of course, it's dangerous for your health, but it doesn't provide any nutrients. It doesn't help her survive. Yes. It doesn't help her cells get protein. Yes, that protein isn't coming in. So, yeah, it's exactly the same situation here. So, abnormal behavior. Yes, it's abnormal. It's not normal. Usually, a person just eats regular food and they don't eat metal nuts or anything like that. So, homosexuality can, in some ways, be compared to that. Because I hear some examples being given and they're not really equivalent. Like, for example, when they say it's like having leprosy and hiding it, staying in the closet with your leprosy. Listen, it's not leprosy, it's something completely different. Comparing something sour to something long doesn't make sense. They're unrelated, that's all. All right, let's not get into those details, but basically you understand this perfectly well, right? And most often it comes with comorbidity. So why is there a certain attitude towards gays and homosexuality? Because we see a combination of many other things as well. That is, certain personality traits, yes, a certain set of all sorts of things. It tends to go along with that. There is some promiscuous behavior, and there's alcoholism, drug addiction, and so on. And there are very few of those good, clean gays. So to say, look, here's a good, clean gay man, everything is fine, everything is great, no drugs at all, no promiscuity, he even got married. Here's his husband, or rather, not married. He got married, here's his husband, and this is his husband. They've lived their whole lives together, and everything is really good for them. These are isolated cases, and not because they are socially rejected or anything like that. This is a collection of the most interesting little puzzle pieces. Well, maybe we can discuss it more together. I know this topic very well. Because the topic of LGBT is actually one of my favorite subjects, so I talk about it with great pleasure, even though there is currently a ban on this kind of propaganda. And I hope this doesn't fall under the definition of propaganda. We're angry with them right now for the same reason, yes, and we want them to stay away from the children. By the way, write in the comments what your attitude toward this is. I have just one request. I mean, I'm glad that I have a wonderful, talented gay hairdresser. And I understand that, oh my God, well, hairdressers in most cases, yes, master stylists, that he will definitely be gay, kind of. And that's wonderful. He has both feminine and masculine qualities. I just ask that you stay away from the children. Don't create these textbooks. Just don't. Without this violence, please, we ask, yes, to remove this excessive pressure. Let it be just like it was before, just like it used to be. Let it stay that way. That's it. No one is oppressing anyone. Everyone lives joyfully and happily, but without all this excessive liberal abuse against us, yes. Above all, against our children. And we are parents. Honestly, it makes our hair stand on end, what we are enduring right now and what is happening. In short, regarding all this conversion therapy, when we tried back then, yes. I'm talking about the 50s up until the 70s. Those were the methods.
For most of the 20th century, gays and lesbians were forcibly placed in psychiatric clinics by their families in hopes of curing them of homosexuality.
They used electroconvulsive therapy to reprogram or disrupt the brain's functioning.
Basically, this involves showing a homosexual man pictures of naked men and then shocking him with strong electric currents.
Lobotomy was another brutal procedure intended to treat a wide range of mental disorders. This instrument was used by Dr. Walter Freeman.
Freeman's technique involved entering behind the eye through the eye socket and simply moving the instrument around to disconnect the frontal lobe from the rest of the brain.
Usually, this completely deprived a person of their willpower, but often led to severe disability.
These methods not only existed, but they actually still exist to this day in many countries and in many republics. We won't specify anything right now, yes, or expose anyone, but we all understand perfectly well that all of this is still happening. So there were some very interesting methods that, of course, were extremely barbaric and did not succeed. That is, a large, I would say, significant percentage of people with non-traditional orientation simply ended in suicide. It's suicide. They couldn't fit into this society. They couldn't cope with it. Moreover, all this conversion therapy is so effective in terms of suggestion, meaning they instill this kind of shame in you, suppressing your desire under the threat of death, that it only gets worse. So she already felt bad and then it became completely unbearable. And this unbearable feeling leads to such a situation, such a tragic culmination when a person just goes and takes their own life. And I'm not making this up, this is a fact. So that's exactly what psychiatrists have faced. What did people try to do with them? They tried all sorts of methods. So patients were shown gay porn, male bodies, and as soon as there were any signs of homosexual arousal, they were given electric shocks. If there was a woman, there could be some positive reinforcement. It's exactly the same as in the laboratory with a mouse, or like they used to easily experiment on dogs, for example. And what's interesting is that experiments are still being conducted on these mice, but you can't do that with dogs anymore. How did people decide that it's okay to torment rats or mice, but it's inhumane to do it to dogs? Why is it humane here and inhumane there? That's what I tell my daughter. So she says, "Mom, kill that mosquito." And I say, "Wait a minute." And I started to philosophize with her about it. That mosquito is also someone's mom or dad. It has kids. Its family is waiting for it, you know. Why do you think you can just take away the life of this living creature? Why did your brain make that choice, that conclusion, you know? Like, why? That's how I encourage her to think about things. Соответственно, so bringing up this topic, you know, it didn't have any effect except a negative one. So he didn't really start desiring the woman, you know, this gay guy. He just fell into even deeper sadness. That's such an interesting point. Next comes electroconvulsive therapy. Of course, how could we do without it? Our dear old favorite too. Overall, this made a person more, let's say, passive. Because there's another interesting thing about gay people. They are quite erotically charged. They are usually in a constant state of arousal. Why do they have so many gay parades and they don't come in suits presenting themselves as respectable family people and so on? That is, they're all with some kind of whips, endless BDSM, anal beads, lubricants, thongs, and everything revolves around sexual themes, everything. By the way, that's much less common among lesbians. Lesbians have more of something like, well, let's say dirty, overweight, unkempt, sweaty with hairy armpits and vaginas. They just walk around and they're just unpleasant. Yes, it's rare to meet a beautiful lesbian girl. It's less common. At parades, it's more like as if they need to take a shower. Lesbians, well, gays seem even cleaner than lesbians. Yes, there are lesbians who are quite feminine, well-groomed and pretty. There are some like that, yes. But there are a lot with shaved heads, hairy legs, and big bellies. But that's not what we're talking about, right? Yes, let's get back to our fascinating conversion processes. So first of all, they tried to reduce this tension there, this electroconvulsive therapy, as if it removed the excessive zest for life, let's say. Because libido always comes with a certain vital outlook on the world. It wants a lot, it gets into everything, everywhere, yes. And the sexual impulse is the same, it's like an unstoppable drive. And that's why this endless promiscuity happens. They hate each other for it. They search for stability so much. And it seems like everyone wants to find a steady partner, to be in a deep, reliable family relationship, but they can't manage it. Every time it's the same story, he cheated. They constantly cheat on each other. One turns away literally, one partner goes to the bathroom to take a shower, and the other is already lying somewhere, texting, setting up a meeting in a chat. So it's constant sexual arousal. And like electroconvulsive therapy is used in an attempt to somehow activate some inhibitory processes, to calm things down a bit, yes. And also things like tranquilizers, antipsychotics, all of that. In an attempt to like calm down, step back, come on, quieter, quieter, quieter. Castration, chemical castration, hormone therapy. Yes, all of these are attempts basically to somehow influence a person and guide them, if not onto the right path, then at least to deprive them of this nastiness, this filth and this crap. By the way, why is there no nastiness or filth? Filth and crap. Not long ago in Mexico City, I saw a scene where two men were making out. They were kissing so passionately and I had a gag reflex. I asked myself, wait, what's happening to me? Why did I have that gag reflex? That was my first reaction. And I realized that this gag reflex isn't even just about a stereotype, it's about how I perceive things. It's more like something, it's more instinctive. We react instantly to vomiting, we react instantly to a spider, to some kind of danger, yes. And it's like the crowd, it wants to peck at and devour anything like that. For example, a gay person too. Why do they try to either burn him or kill him or somehow cure him, bury him, take him somewhere? Because he represents a threat. And the more conservative the society is, yes, the harsher it is, the more clearly you can see it. And here, actually, all of this was based on these quick reflexive feelings I had. Moreover, I assure you, this reaction will be very common, especially among both women and men. Even though the guys were completely normal young men. It's just a gag reflex. And if you say, no, it's just that you've never seen this before. But I come across things in life from time to time that I've never seen before. But that doesn't make you gag, does it? Exactly. But here it did. It made me go like, you. And I just don't get it. You know what I mean, right? I just started asking myself. And like, let's poke around in all this poop now. Let's get a little note and poke around in all this poop. This kind of sex is basically like that. It's all connected to poop and such, so there's no need to romanticize it. Because often this side of things gets ignored. Actually, notice how liberals have silenced proctologists. That's it. They just, boom, shut them up. And now in America, not a single proctologist speaks out. Or if they do, they have to say exactly what the liberal community wants to hear. How incredibly useful all of this is. Anal sex. Okay, so in this way, I'll now get back to what we do with my gay clients in therapy. And how we manage to marry a woman. So I told you about the main methods, right? Or for example, they show photos of men. At the same time, they give some kind of emetic drug. So he looks at these men and he starts vomiting because he was given an emetic, yes, and they triggered severe nausea. And they linked it like when they treat alcoholics, right? So if you take this dose, you'll immediately feel very, very bad. And sometimes these are just dummies, right? There really are placebo effects like that. A person really does take a dose of alcohol. They start having heart problems. They already have to resuscitate him, but at least that fear keeps him in check. Here, they're also creating a conditioned reflex in him. So when you see a man's butt, you should feel fear, like you're about to throw up, that you're going to feel nauseous. And when this treatment goes on for years, and it did go on for years, sometimes even for 10 years, right? This is conversion therapy. Yeah. Sati? So basically, it's brainwashing, right? That's how it works. Brainwashing and all the reflexes. That's what it is, yes. Or, for example, from a religious point of view. So all of this was instilled, right? That this is sodomy, this is a sin, that you're smearing yourself with filth. Male same-sex acts. What is this? Bestiality. How much of this can there be? Blah, 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 blah. You'll go to hell. In hell, you'll burn on frying pans. The devils will roast you. All of this, all of it, absolutely everything was instilled. Next, hypnotherapy. That is various kinds of suggestive methods, like you love women, and men disgust you, right? These are different kinds of mental trainings. Endless listening to some kind of, affirmations that as soon as I see a man, I feel sick. Well, of course, there's also various forms of psychoanalysis and behavioral therapy, but all of it ended up in this kind of format. It's still violence in a way. Because basically, if we take CBT, psychoanalysis, or any other psychotherapeutic approach, we never ever give any, how should I put it, strict advice or lectures. We don't drag anyone anywhere. We don't impose this belief on a person. He builds his own life path. He draws his own conclusions. He chooses to follow that path himself, yes, and chooses to go down the path he has outlined. The people he needs are the ones he resonates with. That's how it is. So that's how it is, my dears. Now, what else do I want to say? Well, okay, but for some reason they single it out as separate categories, conversion therapy and separately aversive therapy. But I would still generalize all of this as conversion therapy. But they separate it as aversive therapy, electroconvulsive therapy, hormonal therapy, and then conversion therapy. Well, in general, yes. You can break it down like that too, however you prefer. Although the term conversion still means yes, to turn, to convert, to replace, to change, kitty. So what do we do, for example, what do we do with my gaze? This doesn't happen in just one session, not in two, not in three, but we gradually remove it. This kind of fear, communication with a woman, the fear of opening up, giving your heart, the fear of relaxing in front of a woman, getting to know your masculine side, your masculinity, awakening your inner warrior. So I give a person the opportunity to see something else. If, again, first of all, the person has this request, and when someone has this request, that's already half the battle. You understand, right? That's it, that's all. He kind of came to this on his own, he's ready for it himself. We can see that, often, maybe even without therapy. He just realizes that he has nowhere else to go, and he thinks, yes, I'll get married quickly, and that's it. Everyone in show business is like that, including Galkin. So, for example, up to a certain age, he allows himself to have a little fun, and then he has fun in secret and chooses a wife, basically a friend. It's clear that there are no intimate relations there. The love is more platonic and all the sex is somewhere else in another country. Well, that's still different. But with my boys, we were working specifically on genuine attraction to women, and they found those girls they were really sexually attracted to. Yes, those girls looked like guys, or rather, they didn't look like guys, but there was something similar about them, but they were women. But yes, he couldn't find femininity in a horse there. But that's what they're talking about. About the fact that now he's not just endlessly limited to this promiscuity, because essentially in most cases that's how it is. And he didn't stay in that loneliness, he finds a girl. Yes, she has rough facial features, she has abs and everything, a masculine back and well-developed biceps and triceps. It happens, and sometimes they have a very strong jawline and their voices are rough too. But for him, why did you just think of Spack? Just for now, Spack, but his little one, well, not Spack, I don't know. We probably already gave it to the agents too. I'm looking for him too. Who knows what's happening to him? And Spack is a clear case, like a person who obviously made a choice too. So to find this woman, and he found a guy, she's all like Mashanya, that's what he has. But they broke up, it doesn't matter, but he found himself. Well, the voice is like, it's not even me right now, like that. I'll do all of this.
He did it, like for us, that's how I hear it. Take your heels. This is, by the way, actually my video.
Well, they lived there, I don't know for how many years together. And overall, this is a way out. Yes, this is a way out. Even though he's kind of with Spannin. They were somewhere in some bathhouse, sticking their feet up each other's butts, sniffing something, eating, tying each other up, sucking each other off, or something like that. They also, I don't know, brought in that Gordon guy, the Ukrainian, the bald, miserable one, and all of that. They filmed it on camera, then leaked the video somewhere, blamed each other for it, and had whole arguments about where the video went and why it got leaked. Yeah, it just turned into some kind of madness. Everyone there quarreled and fell out, but now, probably at some party again, at some swinger party, they made up. Because after all, they're, so to speak, brothers in sperm, right? And what could be closer than that? So that's how we love. By the way, speaking of Prochor, he's also yet another gay guy. I released a video, and back then they didn't really ask for Veronica and Prochor, not having Prochor. I filmed Prochor, but it's published on my closed channel. The link is below in the description. Actually, all the videos are there. So you joined my closed group, and it's really cheap. It's like a monthly subscription, right? So basically, for 27 days in a row each month, you get some interesting information every day. These are videos, work materials, and many interesting audio recordings I've made for you. Sometimes there's a celebrity breakdown, then suddenly, boom. For now, you'll see Prokhor. Watch Prokhor, it's very interesting. There's a full video about him, about 10 minutes long, where I talk about his orientation. And a lot of cuties. What else should I tell you, my darlings? Well, about the LGBT flag, by the way, I think I'll remind you about the LGBT flag. There's also this thing that I feel sorry about. First of all, that they stole the flag from the kids. After all, because of this rainbow, now even moms are afraid to buy a rainbow-colored pony. That's it. And now you see, even somewhere, I don't know, in the sandbox, there aren't even those toys anymore. Everyone has become scared of everything. All of this is forbidden now, but it's just ridiculous and in such an unpleasant way. It turned out that in 1978, a cunning Californian Jewish man stole this flag from the Inca Empire.
40 years ago, LGBT activist Gilbert Baker stole the rainbow flag from the Inca Empire and claimed it as his own creation. The local people, to put it mildly, are shocked. Not only did the Europeans steal all their gold, but they also shamelessly took their flag.
Well, sweeties, well, that's just a little side note for you. What else did I want to say? But I can talk about gays endlessly. And they say, Veronica, why are you so hung up on them? It's because they're very interesting. It's hard not to get hung up on them. In general, I like those kinds of people. I enjoy watching them. And why have they in general become so powerful today? Because, well, they're not just some boring workers, they're artists, and of course it's easy for them to push all this through. The media spreads it to the masses, so to speak, because they're bright, charismatic. There are many actors among musicians, and that's what fascinates and attracts him. Here we're simply asking not to touch the children, that's all. As for me, it's only about the children. Everything else, go ahead, do whatever you want, indulge in it as much as you like, just don't mess with my children. Here are my favorites. Well, write down whether you agree or disagree, and what else do you want? What did I say? I adore them. I can't help it. They're wonderful people. What can I say to you? Well, that's all. Let's begin. I'm waiting for you to see Prokhor so you can watch my Prokhor and see how tenderly I love him. And I think I analyze it objectively. Quite objectively, actually. All right? That's all. See you next time.